Coach Kamani was telling us they all had a pretty lengthy film session yesterday. I'm just curious how you felt like that went, how the guys responded. Did you get everything you wanted out of that?
Well, I mean, we're really going to start diving into stuff today. Certainly the cleanup today. We'll clean up some Tennessee stuff, and certainly dive into to Kentucky stuff. Get on the practice floor today, and try to get better. Try to get ready for Saturday's game.
And AB's had a really good year this year. The last couple of games may have been a little bit uncharacteristic for him. What do you think that is? I mean, is it a little bit of a freshman wall or a product of the opponents you're playing? And how confident are you that he'll be able to get back on track this Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Anthony, it's everybody that puts on a uniform, you go through times of great success, and then you go through a little bit of a struggle, and then you get it back. And he's such a talented player. We certainly expect him to finish the season strong, both the last regular season game, and then as we start our preparation next week for for SEC play and tournament play.
Curtis?
Hey, Coach, I know both teams have changed quite a bit since that game at Rupp Arena. Just curious what you made of Kentucky's play of late and what you expect from them on Saturday.
Yeah, Coach Cal did a great job of when they kind of went through a little bit of a struggle of getting them out of it. They've been playing great basketball. Obviously, lost yesterday at home to Vandy, but they've been playing great basketball. Livingston's improved, which is what you want out of a younger player, and he's done a great job of offensive rebounding, cutting. He's shooting the three better. Obviously, Wallace has had a great year all season long, and is one of the better players in the country. And Reeves, his shooting, and they went through injuries, and so they get a guy like Frederick back, and all of a sudden that stretches the defense out, and you've got to guard another 3-point threat, and that opens things up for number 34 Toshibwe inside. And Toppin's played well all year. He's a multi-positional player, and so they've played good basketball. They put themselves in a very solid, good position for the NCAA tournament. And so they've played really, really well. The last 3 weeks of this season.
Now, I'm curious, how closely do you follow, the bracketology and the net rankings, stuff like that at this time of year, and just maybe your thoughts on where you feel like you guys stand, and do you talk to the team about that kind of stuff much?
Yeah, we talked to the team a little bit about it. I don't think you can, you got to worry about the next game at hand. Obviously, the staff and Ruda did a really good job of the schedule that we had in non-conference, and that you handle your business the first part of the year, and that has a big impact once you get to the end of the season. And then our players did a great job of playing very, very, very well in non-conference, and won some really good games against some very good competition. And like I said, Ruda did a great job, and the entire staff of looking at teams like Fordham and some of the other teams that have played really, really well in their conference. And so we feel good about that. And then obviously our SEC schedule, I don't have any metrics in front of me, but I'm assuming that our SEC schedule was as tough as any team, having played Alabama twice, having played Kentucky. This will be our second time, obviously, playing Kentucky, and having played A&M twice. In my opinion, again, without having everybody's schedule in front, I know our non-conference schedule was very good. I know we took care of business, and certainly in the conference schedule, because it's not a balanced schedule. I've said it 100 times. When I came into the league, it was a little bit eye-opening. How the balance of schedule can kind of really affect your schedule, and up until this juncture of my coaching career, every place I've ever been, it's been a balanced schedule. It's a balanced schedule in the NBA where you play everybody in the West a certain amount of times, you play everybody in the East once at home and once on the road. The Mountain West was a balance, and so with this particular team, we've played. It's a hard schedule, and it's very hard schedule to end the year. You play on a Saturday at Alabama. You lose a close game, a game that really came down to a possession or two. You fly home Sunday, and then you get on a plane Monday and play Tennessee. So you're playing the second ranked team, the 11th ranked team in back-to-back games. And now you have a ranked team in Kentucky coming in on Saturday. So long answer to a short question. Bob?
Yeah, Eric, I'll follow that up a little bit. The net, I think actually your net went up a spot after you played at Alabama. And I can't believe, playing at Tennessee, they were 3 in the net. And I think Kentucky might have gone down, but they were 20. So, I mean, your net's still really high. I mean, obviously you want to win the game, but it looks like you guys are in pretty good shape for the NCAA tournament, no matter what happens.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've never been a part of being in that room. But yeah, we feel with our scheduled non-conference and conference, not the record that we would like. Certainly wish we would have played better against Tennessee. And but there's been a lot of games that we've lost that we put ourselves in a good position to win. So I think we've proven that we can play with anybody. We've had 2 major injuries. It's been well documented that the number of games missed due to injury with our team is as high as any team in the country. And I'm not talking about, somebody gets hurt and misses a game, or 2, Kamani missed a couple games with his toe, and Mikal missed a game. And I'm not talking about that, or somebody gets hurt and comes back. And I'm talking about guys out for extended period of time. And we've done a really good job of holding it together. And we had to reinvent who we are and we're still reinventing who we are. We're still experimenting with plays and different ways to get different players involved from an offensive standpoint. I think defensively, we've been pretty steady, all year with our scheme and how we're going to do things from a defensive standpoint. But certainly, the roster makeup changes kind of who you are offensively.
And then Kamani, you're honoring him, I guess, because the other guys have eligibility left. I just wonder what you thought about coaching Kamani and his contributions. And then have you had any conversations with the other guys, the twins or Jalen, about their future plans?
No, I mean, I think all that stuff happens after the year. With Kamani, he's been a very important piece, especially this year, because he and Devo were the only 2 that really knew what we had going on, other than Lawson and Cade. And so Devo and Kamani's voice on the practice floor certainly carried a lot of weight for this whole season. He continues to have a voice in our huddles and in-game situations and at halftime. And he's won us some games. Obviously, that game against San Diego State right now, that's a game that was a really important win for us on a neutral floor. And he came in and I would say that his contribution in that particular game was as great a contribution as we've had from anybody in any one given game against a really good opponent, not in our own building. So, all of us really appreciate, and we're, really proud too, that academically, that he's getting a degree, and that was really important to Kamani and to his mom. And, just proud of how he's conducted himself, as a leader on our team.
I got a couple more. You want me to just keep going, or do you want to turn it back? Or
Let's give Scotty a turn first. You may ask one of your questions.
I couldn't remember who's asked.
Thanks, Bob. Eric, you talked in the past about player leadership being important to a team growing. Are you seeing that from a guy or, maybe a couple guys as you get into March?
We'd like more for sure. Some more player leadership. I certainly think that Nick is really competitive and he's vocal. I think Anthony's tried to lead in his way. With both of them, they're still freshmen. And so those two guys in particular have tried to lead. Obviously, Devo and Kamani have probably been the most consistent voices throughout the season, and they're they have enough inner confidence to step up and say things internally. But I think that's an area that we want to continue to grow in, even though we only have 40 minutes of regular season basketball to play. That's another area to continue to grow in. And, but I think those have been the guys that kind of have tried to lead us in different ways at different times of the year.
And secondly, after the last couple games, what's it going to take to maybe try to limit Kentucky's paint points to a number that you're, I guess, at least okay with, and what all goes into that? I would imagine it's more than just, frontline guys.
Well, number one, our guards, have to do a good job of keeping the ball in front of them. That means that the point guard, the off guard, and the small forward. These two games are a little bit different, though, that we just played. I mean, Alabama, every team they play, they space out. You either got to guard the three or guard the drive. That's been an entire theme. If I picked up the phone and called one of their non-conference opponents, that would be a discussion that you would have with anybody that plays them, and quite frankly, anybody that's going to have to play them, whether it's the SEC tournament or the NCAA tournament. You're going to have to decide. It's really hard to take away both against a team that's a top 3 team in the country. And so that is what it is. And then if you look at the way that Tennessee, they're one of the best rebounding teams, so they're going to have points in the paint. Now, certainly you're talking about, Toshibwe, who's an incredible offensive rebounder, maybe the best offensive rebounder that college basketball has seen in the last 10 years. But you look at our block shots and you look at how we have for the duration of the season, we've been a team that's done a great job of protecting the lane. Now, we would have liked to have gotten better the last 2 games. So we've got to improve that area, certainly against Kentucky.
I think Cason Wallace left the game early last night for Kentucky. Y'all prepping like he's going to play?
Well, our first prep for Kentucky is going to be today. And so when we go down there, we know that Coach Cal said that they're hopeful it'll play at Arkansas. We know that Coach Calipari said there was no swelling. And we know that Coach Cal said that the x-rays came back and he was fine. So certainly preparation will be for number 22, Wallace, to play without a question.
Bob?
You might be able to get Cal to send you the x-rays. I don't know.
I don't need to see him.
Hey, you talk about pain points. Sheba, you guys locked him down probably better than anybody has that I can remember. I know he only had 4 against Florida, but you got 7 points, 7 rebounds. What was the key to that the first time around? How much, obviously the twins, but how much did maybe guys like AB or some of the other guys help? But how'd you do that? And then what's the key to doing it again? Because he had 30 here last year. I know you guys won, but he had like 30 and 18, I think,
Yeah, I think we did a good job of being alert to where he was on the floor. Every game's got its own theme, and so it doesn't really matter what happened in Lexington. Certainly, we've looked at the film on things that we did well, and certainly things that we want to get better at in that particular game. And I know that Coach Calipari and his staff are looking at different things that they can do. To get all their, we all want to get our best players, as many good shots as we can. And, we want to guard the 3 of Wallace and Reeves and Frederick. And Like I said, Livingston's improved, and Toppin is playing good basketball. So, but I did think in the game at Lexington, I thought that Jordan Walsh was really, really aggressive and had a big, big impact. It's one of his best games of the year. He was aggressive. I think they kind of helped off of Jordan, and he was really, really aggressive. So we need Jordan Walsh to have that same aggressiveness as he did in Lexington.
But is it realistic that you could hold Sheboy to similar numbers, or 2 games in a row that that just ain't going to happen? Or what? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that you got to, whatever happened last game, whether a player has a great game or a player, struggles. I mean, it's kind of out the door. And, you look at Tosheboy's average, and can you hold him under his average? And that's the goal with anyone that we play that we deem a star player. So we'll take a look at Oscar's numbers, field goal percentage, number of free throws attempted that he has, the offensive rebounds that he averages, his point total, his efficiency numbers, and we'll try to shrink those numbers to the best of our ability, just under his average, will be our goal with him in particular, as well as what we deem their other star players as well.
And we're getting ready for postseason honor time. Just wonder what you thought about AB's season. I know the last couple of games have been probably uncharacteristic, but taking his season as a whole, how do you feel about what he's done?
Yeah, I mean, I think Anthony's one of the best players in the country. We've played him exclusively at the point guard position. I think he can play anywhere on the floor. I think he can play the 1, 2, the 3, the 4. Got an incredible bright future. We hope that that he feels like he's improved greatly playing in this system, and I hope that he feels like all of our players that they've been given a lot of offensive freedom to grow their game, and and hopefully the experience minutes wise that he's gotten will help us as we start entering this new season that's going to be upon us starting Sunday when we wake up.
One more thing on your schedule, Missouri outperformed the projections quite a bit. I mean, that's a good win for you guys here, and it's really not a bad loss in Columbia. They're 22-8, I think. So that helped your schedule too, didn't it? Missouri's emergence, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, Missouri did a great job of handling their business in non-conference, had a great non-conference, and then they've carried that same play and that same intensity. Their head coach, Coach Gates, has done a great job. Love their transfers that have come in, and those guys got great experience, and the pieces really fit, but a really, really experienced team, and love how those transfers have blended in. A lot of guys that did not play in the SEC that have contributed and bought into Coach Gates' system, because they're an older veteran team, and you can tell from the first game until even last night, the way they closed out that game with their veterans. They got down, they came back. That's what a lot of veterans do.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Unless
Thanks,
you want to say something else.